Hello students, today we will see how to solve a case study for the subject CRM and SCM. So I will share the screen with you all. So the case study is about the two business giants in terms of mobile selling, which are Nokia and Samsung. So the case study tells us that Nokia has gained a profit of $700 millions by adopting the strategies which are being performed by Samsung. So Samsung has applied various strategy for the mutual advantage of both the company and the consumer. Samsung, apart from this, has adopted use of various information tools to become popular and to have a competitive advantage amongst its competitor. The Samsung company very well is aware that the market scenario is unpredictable, and to sustain in this market, Samsung has to adopt certain technologies or certain strategies which will make them popular in the market. So the case study is given, and the five questions associated with the case studies they are also given. So first is the identifying the various supply chain uh, strategies which can be adopted as a supply chain consultant. So for this, we have identified 11 different points to be considered as a business use case when the Nokia will adopting these strategies. The first one is purchasing supplier relationship management. The the very first rule of business, it tells us that whatever product specification we are looking for, that product must be made available and on time and within the stipulated budget. Also, it tells us that the manufacturing flow of management, it should be restricted to a given time and in the given budget constraints. Second is the inventory management. It talks about the stocking or storing of various goods as per their weight, dimension, amounts, and locations. This will also help us to keep this inventory in their hold, in their control. Also, it talks about the strategy which is adopted to replace the product. For example, suppose that one Nokia mobile uh, it is not good and the customer has bought the Nokia mobile and suppose it is not good, then in that case, what are the various replacement strategies or the process which the consumer has to adopt? It deals with the inventory management. So these all business use cases, the Nokia must have a proper policy documentation, and the Nokia must also implement the various IT interfaces or IT tools to support the stocking of goods and to perform replenishing or replacement of products. Second is the demand planning or demand management, also it is called as. It tells us that the customer, it tells us that customer interaction is playing a major role in identifying the business orders. For example, in recent times, a white color mobile phone, it was being popular. So now, if this strategy it is being sensed by the Nokia, it will tell us that the customers are looking more for the white mobile phone, and hence the production of white mobile phone uh, will be done more as compared to any other colored mobile phone. So this need of the customer, it should be converted into order, and then it should be converted into workload which will be performed by various stakeholders. This also demands that the customer, it is looking, the management, it is looking for forecasting of the customer needs so that the waste it can be managed, and there will be a very harmonious ratio between the demand and supply. The next point is warehousing. Warehousing, it also talks about the stocking of products as we have seen in the inventory management. But apart from just stocking or storing of products, warehousing, it talks more about packing and shipping of the products. Next is the customer service or customer service management. So whenever a customer is delivered with a service or a customer is delivered with a product, okay, so what is a product? Suppose that a customer is has purchased a mobile phone, so that is the product. But suppose that mobile needs certain kind of repair, so it becomes a service. So whenever this kind of feedback it is taken from the customer, and the Nokia, if suppose it works on this kind of feedback, then it is called as Nokia follows customer service management. Order fulfillment, it tells us that whenever the customer has ordered any product, suppose that a customer has ordered Nokia or the accessories of Nokia, then using the third party logistics, whether the customer is able to fulfill his requirement or not, it deals with the order fulfillment. Second is the transportation and logistics management. It talks about the use of third or fourth party logistics to optimize the route which is for the delivery of the product, so that there is a improvement in the demand forecasting, and also a trend of the factors which affects or which influence the demand, they can also be known. Then next one is the logistics route optimization. Then suppose that the Nokia has its regional office in Delhi. Then from going from one city to Delhi or from Delhi to every other city, there are multiple routes. Suppose that the product needs to be delivered from Delhi to Pune. In that case, there are alternative paths or routes possible, and which is the best route which suits to cater the requirement of the customer or consumer. It is called as logistics route optimization. There might be certain problems on the road, certain problems in the cities, or maybe the roads are not good enough to carry a particular type of product if it is a sensitive product. So in that case, with use of IT, an efficient route must be planned, which delivers the product in less amount of time and in less amount of cost, which gives us the higher benefit also. So the next point is the outsourcing. Outsourcing is, suppose that the Nokia is unable to perform all the business process, then it can outsource its certain work. For example, when a Nokia can hand over its task of making the screws which are related for making a mobile. So if this screws, the Nokia is unable to produce this or manufacturing this screws, then in that case, Nokia can hand over it to another company. Likewise, if the Nokia feels that yeah, Nokia is unable to handle the cover or maybe the inner gadgets, electronic devices of a mobile, small devices which are embedded in the mobile, then the Nokia has to outsource the stuff. Responsiveness is, it tells us that the time which is required to cater the customer needs. Suppose that the customer is looking for a replaced Nokia mobile, and the time required to fulfill his query verbally, number one, and number two, by actually physically replacing his mobile phone, it is called as the responsiveness. So this response time, it should be always minimum. Information sharing, it tells us that to be in the competition, we have to use information technology tools or various applications, so that all the stakeholders they remain integrated with each other. The flow of information, it is uniform, unanimous throughout the stakeholders, and so that it will help in the business decision making. The last point for the question one is the cash to cash conversation, that is C2C. It tells us that suppose that we need to know that how big the company is. It is in terms of its revenue. A company has multiple resources, maybe in terms of factories, maybe in terms of machineries, every small things, computers, scanners, infrastructure like desks, benches, chairs. So the cost of which we will get by selling all of this, maybe it is just hypothesis, but if we get a particular cost and amount, then it is called as the C2C. The second question is identify challenges in implementing IT in supply chain. Then, while we are implementing IT, we need to have the timely data. Suppose that we want to look at what happened 5 years down the line, and if suppose our tool does not have the data, back data, backdated data, then at such time, implementing IT is a challenge. Information sharing, yes, if suppose the IT tool is unable to share the information amongst its multiple stakeholders, then it is also challenge. Giving training to the various stakeholders, it may be challenge to IT because physically it is very easy using the online video conferencing stuff. It is very hard to give training due to the technical limitations. Integration of business function is the next challenge. IT may not understand or we may not give intelligence enough to any of the system to make him understand that how a particular process executes. This intelligence human beings have, but maybe a machine or maybe a system will not have this intelligence, which is a challenging area. Lack of interest of management and employees. So management and employee, they may face a problem while adopting a new technology. Suppose that we are used to work on a particular type of ERP, and after few years of its use, of its extensive use, if suppose we have to work on the different ERP, then we become resistant towards the technology, which is a challenge. Cost of software and the tool, it is also challenge. Maybe it may happen that the tool which is of high end, high cost, it may give a better result, but just for the budget constraints, we may not use that tool, which is also a challenging thing. Then suggest IT tools and applications for this SCM. So SAP ERP is one of the solution which can be applied as IT tools or applications, and it has number of modules like financial accounting, controlling, asset counting, project management. So the user can look for these tools. Next is how IT can help us for this. So we now know that there are multiple technology things such as big data, Hadoop, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So these are the number of technical things. And what we have to do, we have to think about the technology and we have to correlate it with the business use case, which can be solved by using the technical tool. So, if we perform a mapping amongst the problems and amongst the technology, it will be very easy for us to understand how the technology can be advantageous for the various business things. And the last question is about implementing of supply chain. So this is the theoretical answer. Higher frequency in operation, cost reduction. Of course, when things are integrated, there is no confusion and thus the time and budget both and efforts. Three things are saved at a time. Cooperation in the business, since the idea and suggestion it is taken by every stakeholder, then it becomes very easy to implement the business decision. So in this way, today we have studied Today we have studied that Nokia has to learn from its mistakes, and these mistakes were not performed by the Samsung. Samsung has their own philosophy, their own vision. They were very adaptive to the use of information technology, and this learning lesson Nokia has to take. Now, it is being said that in the case study, when Nokia uh, implemented the strategy which were followed by the Samsung, the Nokia like gained a profit of dollar 700 million. But in reality, we know that Nokia it is being uh, acquired by Microsoft. Okay, so this is a real life case study, and we should learn through the. We should read various articles, research papers and the newspaper so that we come to know that what are the various business happenings in the world, and then it will be very easy for us to write down the case study. So that's all. Students, you please solve the case study which is based on the Fiat company, and I have given the answer for all of them in the Word document. What you need to do, you need to associate that answer, which is generic one, to the case study. So you need to input a certain data which is relevant to the Fiat company and the case study words. Yes. Thank you so much, students, for patient listening. Thank you.